All right, can you hear me now? Tools and dive gear, everything the body needs. All right. Can you guys hear me now? Are we good? Are we live? All right. Welcome. We are starting our first episode of Dive Soft Gear Talks. This is a new show that we're bringing to you guys on Tuesdays now. We had a lot of success with our other dive talks, and so I figured, in the Dive Soft team, we all figured to bring something more gear oriented to you guys. The guys and gals and everybody that's just interested in diving, interested in the Dive Soft products. And so every week, what we're going to be doing is I'm going to talk about different gear. We'll be talking about the Liberty rebreather. We'll be talking about the Liberty Light, the side mount rebreather, the back mount rebreather. We'll talk a lot about also our other products that we have, including the Set Blender Max Analyzer, the Solos, our Freedom computers, every big tool and small tools, our reels, buckles, everything that we make. And so what we're going to be doing here is that I'm going to be encouraging your questions, and I got Matej in the back. He's going to be kind of broadcasting a lot of the questions, and so be sure to contribute and talk. I've got a tablet here, and I'm going to be reading some of the questions. So don't be afraid to engage. Like, we're designing this to bring more information and more stuff to all of you guys that are sitting at home, that are unable to hang out with me at the dive site or to meet up with us at any of the trade shows. That everything's kind of at hold at the moment. So all right, so we're going to just jump right in. So I wanted to introduce our Liberty Light. And what is the Liberty Light? I don't know if you guys have heard through the grapevine, or if you guys hung out with us at DEMA in 2019. We had our Liberty Light at the show. Essentially, what this is we wanted to introduce a rebreather that was a lightweight travel version. It's lighter than our original unit, but it's just designed for travel. That was kind of the vision. A lot of diving, we go all over the world. We travel a lot. So something that's more travel friendly, but it doesn't compromise on the electronics and the breathing loop. Nothing that makes a rebreather has been changed or compromised. So we focus on redesigning from the ground up a kind of a holistic rebreather system that will be lightweight and easier to travel. So it's not a smaller rebreather, but it's a more comfortable rebreather. So you'll see here in the back, I've got this red unit. So that's also the Liberty Light. We have it coming in two different colors, in the red and in the black. And then we have our original back mount unit. So you can see that there's a big size difference. And so we'll be going into those details and just kind of talking about the entire system. I've got two cameras set up. So Matt in the back, he's going to be kind of going and switching between videos and sources, and we have pictures and videos that we're going to be showing off as well. So, all right, I see that there's a lot of chatter going on. So we got everybody saying hello. Hi, everybody. Hey, Rebecca. There's a guy, Daniel, there. He's got the same last name as I do. It's weird. And then Sean, and we got Daniel diving too. All right, there's John McCain from Dive Right, one of my besties, one of the best dive buddies. So, yeah, we go diving together, and so we get to go and play in the caves and springs together all the time. It's a good time, right? So, all right, let's dive into the Liberty Light. So, this unit right here, we have is essentially, it's the wing, the harness, and the counterlung system. So you can see that I don't have any cylinders here. I do have the first stages for the cylinders, but Let me make sure that you guys can get into that camera. I'm looking at this camera and I gotta focus on both of them. We have the first stages here. They're apex flight regulators, but we don't have any cylinders. We don't have the head. We don't have the the breathing loop, the scrubber, or the BOV. But this is what makes the Liberty Light, right? So these are the whole system that we focused on. Make sure that you guys can get a close up. So what this unit weighs right here is about 12.5 pounds. There we go. We got Matt right in there, so you can see we have the Dive Soft Fish back plate, or it's essentially it's a back pad. So all of this, it's all soft goods to make it as light as possible. We removed the back plate, we removed the stand, and so to introduce kind of this lightweight version. So we have the integrated wing, the back plate, the harness, and the counterlinks. Okay, so this all together weighs about 13 pounds. Okay, and so this is perfect for travel. You can have this in your gear bag with your fins, and your wetsuit, and your mask, and everything. And then the electronics, the head of the rebreather is going to be in the. We recommend that you have it in the carry-on with you. I know I like to have my head in the carry-on with me because TSA likes to see it, and I like to walk them through what the head is, what the electronics is, and what to explain the importance, the life support equipment that it is. I know that there's definitely some horror stories of people taking rebreathers through TSA, and so it's important to be there and to be able to explain what they're looking at. So, but this weighs about 13 pounds. When you have everything ready to dive, it's about I think we got it to 54 pounds. That's with the regular 5.5 pound scrubber and 3-liter cylinders. So we're at 13 pounds with this unit. Okay, I have some good notes on here. So we have our harness. It's a Hogarthian harness. You know, it's a single piece of webbing that's threaded throughout. Now, if I can jump here on this small camera, we can see here the harness weaves into this plate. Now, this plate is a carbon fiber plate. It's essentially a T-bone. It's kind of hard to show on this camera, but we have the T-bone structure here, and then we have another kind of carbon fiber plate that's back up here. Let me see if I can. There we go. Get a good view on that. So the carbon fiber there we don't want to compromise on the durability of this equipment. Now, why do we dive on back plates? We dive on back plates because they're strong, they're very robust. You can have them essentially forever. And so, you know, if we're going to get rid of the back plate, we want something that's just as strong and just as robust, but much lighter. So this is how we built this harness. So it's a single piece of webbing that's threaded throughout. And we have 3 D-rings, 2 in the harness, 1 on the left side, and then we have the crotch D-ring, and we have a butt D-ring and then a crotch D-ring, so 5 D-rings. All right, so and then also in our harness, we integrated this bungee system here. I wonder if anybody can guess what this bungee is for. I know it's real popular here in Cave Country to be putting this bungee here onto your harness. I wonder if anybody can guess. No? So what this bungee is, I'll let you guys guess for a little bit, and then I'll get right back to it. So we have the bungee on both sides, and it's used for something regarding your bailout. Let's see if anybody can guess. So we have our harness. And the wing we have is a donut wing. It's a completely 360 wing. So it's designed, and you'll see in other pictures later that the cylinders will sit really well with the wing, and so it doesn't taco up. All right. And on the next demo event or the next show that we finally get to go do, guys, I want you guys to feel the materials that we have. Made this back pad with and the wing. Very strong, robust material, but it's not, you know, it's not like sandpaper either. It's very comfortable. It's very soft to dive without a wetsuit, without any exposure protection, and it's not going to be beating you up. All right. Let's see. Side mount. There you go. Taylor. I don't know if other people put, yeah, Rebecca put for your bailout too. Yep, that's what these bungees are for. So do a really good job of streamlining your cylinders on here. All right. There we go. Yep, Daniel diving, secondary reg. That a side mount. So this is essentially, it's a side mount bungee. Okay. So just another thing that we wanted to improve on was for streamlining your cylinders. So we have our 360 wing. Now the construction of the back pad. I'm going to take this jacket off. So the construction of the back pad. You can see here that it's pretty comfortable. But what we have behind it is we have our weighting system. I hope that Velcro isn't too loud. So here we have this, it's kind of the spinal Velcro weighting system. Let's see if we can throw kind of on the main screen the video of here on the phone video. We have weight pockets on either side. Make sure you guys get a good view of that. So these pockets are essentially the same. They work the same as trim pockets, right? If I've got a low pressure 85 steel that's sitting on one side for bailout, my right side could be a little cattywampus, right? And so what I can do with the weights is I can have more weights on one side to counteract the weight that I feel and run into if I have a heavy cylinder on one side. So that's what that's designed for. And so this pad, that's where you can see we have kind of a lot of bungee attached here. But things are removable and adjustable, and it's just so you can make it your own. But this is the weighting system that we designed from the ground up. Now, this weighting system is also common with other manufacturers, but we wanted to integrate it into this kind of soft plate system so that you can travel. And I've dove with a dry suit with heavy weasel undergarments in this, and with heavy weasel undergarments, and I was able to put in enough weight. So Daniel asks, is the material Cordura or nylon? It's an interesting blend. It's a nylon material and kind of combined with the robustness that you find with Cordura. It's not like a ripstop nylon, and you can see that it is weaved, but it is designed to be able to handle abrasiveness, you know, to lay it on kind of concrete, onto sharp rocks, and it's not going to tear very easily. So, okay. So we have our harness, our back pad. You can see behind this weight pad, this is where you have the carbon fiber plates. And then here on the weight plate itself, we also have the counterlines. Now, the way that DiveSoft has done our back mount counterlines, we wanted to design them without removing the whole, we wanted to make them removable without removing the entire system. So we have them attached via on a zipper on both sides. It's the same type of attachment that we have it on our back plate. We have the bolts that go through this back pad here, and then we have this zipper system. Now you say, oh, you know, how do you ensure the redundancy of the zipper not coming undone underwater? We have another Velcro system. There's probably about 3 or 4 different layers of the Velcro in here. You can see, I don't know how well you can see. There you go, Cordura 2000. No nylon, sorry about that. But you can see here that the zipper is attached. We have the zipper head, and then you have 2 kind of Velcro systems designed in there to really hold it in place. It's just like your You know, it's also part of your checklist to make sure that this is attached properly so that it does not come undone underwater. And then we have our counterlungs attached here to the harness. It's attached. You can attach it either this way, or we also have a cobra buckle fitting that's designed to be integrated into the webbing, and you can clip it straight in rather than have a Velcro attachment. So it just kind of depends on your preferences. All right. So the counterlung attachment. Now we have another piece that we wanted to get into is the strap system. So anybody that dives on the Liberty rebreather or that has seen the Liberty rebreather, it's important to note that it is integrated into the backplate. Into the backplate, you have a locking mechanism designed to hold the rebreather head with the plenum onto the stand. And so here at DiveSoft, we designed a integrated piece right here. We can probably go to, there you go. So I have here a head and I have a scrubber, right? So the way that we attach this, it kind of goes into the back side, and then it's a press fit onto this single O-ring. So what we designed, we wanted to create a new type of locking system. I don't know how well you guys can see on this camera here, but we wanted to create a locking mechanism designed to create a secure system that is streamlined, that won't get entangled in any lines, that will be difficult to get knocked off, but able to be removable by the user. So we do have this latching system that goes here on the side. Now this piece is what allows the Liberty Light to remain attached, and it also is part of the Liberty Heavy as well. There we go. So you can see here, there we go, there's a good shot. So you can see here with this system, it's streamlined, it's not going to be able to, and it won't get bumped or removed. Now this is what's going to be up against the diver, and so it's still, contact is going to be a little bit difficult anyways. So Daniel Diving is asking, is the carbon fiber plate the same as we use on the side mount system? It's going to be the same system, it's going to be very similar, and so they're going to be kind of working in sync together. So now that when we have the head and the plenum connected, this allows us. So this piece right here is the critical piece in the Liberty Light and the Liberty Heavy as well. And so the way that these are going to be attached, this unit is a kind of a prototype unit that we've been using and beating up and diving a lot. It's going to be attached via this Velcro system. You can see here, this is what's going to wrap and hold the plenum and the scrubber. We have the oxygen solenoid feed that's going to be kind of going into, I want to make sure you guys can see. It'll be going into the solenoid feed right here. So what I'm going to do, try to show you how it looks when it's all built up. All right. There you go. Perfect. So you can see here, once the plenum and the head are connected, then they're attached via these Velcro straps that are very similar to what we have on the side mount unit as well too. So it's very secure. It's not going to come It's not going to be able to separate because it's got multiple layers of attachment points, so that if one thing fails, another thing will be able to kind of back it up. So, you know, redundancy is always key in technical diving. So we have our apex flight regulators. They're kind of held in place, but you can see they're a little bit below the plenum, which it's still okay, but the unit does sit kind of on its butt. We have 3-liter cylinders on here. You can also put 2-liter cylinders, or you could put different diameter size cylinders because these cam bands. But you can see that the unit does sit on its back. But we're able to use a regular size can. You can use the extra large can, or you can even use the side mount short can. So it really depends kind of on what you want to do. Our extra large scrubber is about 7.7 pounds, and our regular size scrubber is 5.5 pounds. So part of our philosophy with this Liberty Light is that we wanted a solution to people that, you know, you hear the term recreational rebreather thrown around. And so a recreational rebreather, it's kind of, it doesn't exist because we don't, you know, it's a technical piece of equipment that you don't want to compromise on the equipment itself. It's almost like if you're doing a recreational dive with 3 or 4 cylinders, it's very easy to get in trouble because you have so much gas, you have so much capability, and if you don't have the proper training, you can get into trouble with that. It's almost in terms of like with a recreational rebreather, you have so much capability, and if you don't have enough training for it, you can get in trouble with it. What we wanted to do is we wanted to design a unit that would be easy to travel, you can do a dive in a river that's 10 feet. You can go dive in a coral reef dive that's 35 feet, and you don't feel like you have all these huge extra tanks, extra gear. You know, you just have your lightweight 50-pound rebreather with you, and you have a little aluminum 40 for bailout. And then you can go and enjoy a shallow, easy 30-minute dive if you wanted to. Or you can go with this unit. It's fully capable to do a trimix dive, cave diving, anything, because it's the same electronics that we have built and designed with DiveSoft, and it's the same scrubber capacity, the same cylinders. All we've done is reduce the weight, essentially, for traveling. And we've also made it a pretty cool color, right? So you can see here, it's all the same system. It's all the same. We have our weight pocket system here, and it's fully capable. So let's get to some of the questions. Is it possible to add a stand to it? It defeats the ability to travel a bit, but still. So we have been kind of experimenting with different stands. We've been working with, you know, maybe a concept of a lightweight stand, a carbon fiber stand, you know, even just like essentially like almost like a bumper stand, where it's just enough to get it off of the first stages, off of the butt of the rebreather. So we are still experimenting and designing different pieces to go with the Liberty rebreather, the Liberty Light rebreather system. So yeah, but that's a good question. So let's see if we can pop up any more questions. Let's see. So why are the Apex Flight first stages used? There we go. We're both thinking the same thing. So why are the Apex Flight first stages used? Wouldn't the DSTs be smaller and the Liberty Light would not stand on them? So we use the Apex Flight first stages because of their compact size and lightweight. Kind of hard to see here. Jump over to the other one. So we have our Apex Flight regulators here. These first stages are, you know, we are a big fan of the Apex regulators because of their robustness and their high quality components. Now, the Apex Flight is one of the more smaller first stages that they use, and it is the kind of lightest in their lineup. So the Apex Flight regulators work very, very well. When will the multicam version come out of the Liberty? Probably not yet. That's probably a Southern United States kind of thing, though. So, but it is possible to integrate different regulators into the Liberty Light system. These are the Apex Flight regulators are the ones that are going to come with it, and these are the ones I recommend that you use. But we can use essentially any type of first stages that you would like. All right. Size and weight are the main reason. Yep, definitely. We were trying to minimize the weight as much as we could. So another way that we reduce the weight is SPGs. I know for me, I have most of my experience with SPGs have been with brass submersible pressure gauges. With these, we stuck with the Sunto SM36. These have a plastic housing on them. To be honest, I was a little nervous about using them at first, but after putting about 22 hours, we're testing with the Liberty Light. We've been finding that they're fantastic and they actually work really well. And you'll see at kind of the shows or a demo that that these are actually going to work pretty well. So I'm becoming a bigger and bigger fan of them with every dive. So, all right. Let's see if we have. Is there any more questions going on here with the Liberty Light? So, it's a really one big advantage too is that the Liberty it's kind of designed. It has a larger torso. So if you have a long torso, it fits you very well. Now, not everybody's fit the same way, and so the Liberty Light it's got a smaller torso and it's more comfortable. You're able to move your head around. You have good range of motion. You can see in some of the pictures and some of the videos that it works very, very well, and that it sits very, very comfortably, especially from diving off of a boat, diving off in caves, and all sorts of diving. It's very, very comfortable. So, all right. So, one other thing that I want to mention on here is that so here we have our breathing loop, and so we have our BOV integrated with the Liberty Light to work as kind of in sync with it. But you can use the DSV with these manual ad valves because we have all the modularity that goes with the mouthpieces that you can build on the configurator online. Now we have either the T-piece ADV or we have the integrated mouthpiece ADV. So both of them can work very well. You can use back mount counterlungs or you can use front mount counterlungs with the Liberty Light. So it's able to kind of all work together. Where do we plug in offboard gas if needed? So with front mount counterlungs, you're able to plug offboard gas directly onto the counterlung, onto the manual ad valves. Now with the back mount counterlungs, a lot of folks have been having good success with plugging in offboard through the first stages. You essentially kind of use it as a manifold. So if you want to plug in offboard gas, you close your diluent valve. You have a hose piece that's plugged in. You plug in the offboard gas, and then you can use the first stage essentially as a manifold to go offboard. All right. Yeah. So But yeah, we have some different pictures that we're going to be throwing up as of demonstrating of how it looks in the water. You can see the side mount bungees really do help really well with achieving a very good trim of the bailout cylinders. Now, let's see. Now we have our hand sets, and then here's something that I've become a pretty big fan of. I don't know how many guys like to use this, but I saw this trick from Stefan Senecal. We started putting kind of bungees on the loop, and what these bungees started to do is they became really good for hose routing of kind of your handset cables, your controller cables, and it keeps everything nice and tight instead of having issues like this where your cable's like sticking out really far. You're able to pull it in and it keeps everything tucked in really nice and neat. So I just keep a couple of loose bungees up really high, and that seems to work out really well. So, would it be possible to convert the Liberty Light to the side mount version? Yep. So we'll get into other videos kind of later in the series with the side mount and kind of converting, going back and forth between the two. But we still have the same breathing loop. It's the same head and the same scrubber, and that we use for the side mount unit, for the back mount unit, and for later for the Liberty Heavy. So the main differences is kind of the BC, the counter lungs, the mouthpiece are what makes it different. So, okay. What I'm going to do is jump over here. All right. So, now, one thing that we can do to come through. All right. So let's see if we can get some more questions, and so if you guys have any more questions kind of in general about the Liberty, I have a back mount unit here as well, and so you guys can see how different they are. Now I think this is a pretty good comparison where you can see how much of a difference the stand makes between the Liberty Light and the Liberty, just the back mount unit. This is the same. It's the same unit. The only thing is the back plate and the stand. So how much of a difference it makes. Is there a path to upgrade the unit to a heavy one like this, should we be unable to travel in the near future? So the Liberty Heavy is all of our units will be convertible. You'll be able to jump between, say you wanted to have every configuration. You want a side mount, a Liberty Light, a Liberty back mount, and a Liberty Heavy. You would be able to jump in between each of them through conversion kits. But you have the same head, you have the same electronics, you have the same scrubber and plenum. Well, different plenums for, say, a side mount. The best unit to use is the small scrubber versus kind of the heavy. You would want to use the extra large scrubber, right? We want to always cater to the type of diving that we're doing. So you can see in this picture here, I'm using the extra large scrubber, but we can also use the short scrubber as well. So you'll be able to have one head and be able to jump between all of the different configurations. You may have a different mouthpiece. We'll have a DSV for the side mount, or you'll have a BOV for the light and the back mount and the heavy. So it's different configurations, but it's still the same head, the same electronics, and it's the same breathing loop. Because the Divesoft Liberty was built around the robustness of the electronics, the redundancy, and the work of breathing. So it's completely crucial that the work of breathing, the electronics, that there was no compromise between any of these different configurations for diving. All right. So keep the questions coming, guys. I know I'm kind of standing behind the rebreathers, but I want you guys to be able to kind of see them. What is the difference between the scrubber in size and time use? Okay, so that's a good question, Rebecca. So here, both of these units have the same scrubber. These are the regular scrubbers, the regular 5.5 pound scrubbers. And per CE testing, these scrubbers are rated for 4 to 6 hours. The extra large scrubber is 7.7 pounds. That one is rated for 6 to 8 hours per the CE testing. All right. Okay, so like this. Move around a little bit. So we're going to jump into, I want to show you guys the electronics package here. They're planning in the future to put a compass in the handset, but without the GPS module. So one reason why we do not have a compass in the system is because there are magnets that are used for the buttons. The buttons in the handsets, and so that would be a problem with the compass, right? And so there are plans that, you know, possibly in the future that we can have a compass integrated, because in our next computers that we've been talking about working on, the Freedom Force, we wanted to have a compass integrated in the system. So a lot of it is part of the kind of the DiveSoft ecosystem, is that we want our computers to have the same kind of capability as the rebreathers, and vice versa. You know, everything's kind of related together. So we are planning to have our next upgrade that we're going to have capabilities for a compass that's part of the system. So let me see if you guys can get a good camera angle. There we go. A little bit more. So here we have our Liberty head. Something that I wanted to show you guys was part of the electronics and the redundancy here in the head. I hope you guys can get a good angle. So you can see the symmetry here. We have the 4 oxygen cells that are stored kind of in this carriage right here. And then we have 2 lithium-ion batteries, one for each side. We have our 2 solid-state helium sensors, and then we have our 2 solenoids. You can also see we have our depth sensors in there as well. So it's a completely redundant system. And kind of in this top portion, and this is where we have the motherboard sealed in the head, right? And so the one computer will be able can talk to any part of the system, versus like if there's any type of failure, one computer can control the entire system on the other side as well. Just like if we have a depth sensor fail, we have the other depth sensor will compensate for it. One battery can run the entire system. It fires the solenoid, and it also controls the battery, or it controls the power to the displays, which the displays include your heads-up display and your 2 handsets. Can we show the inside of the canister? Yep. That's something that we probably don't talk very much about, is the scrubber itself. And so this is our regular 5.5 pound scrubber. And inside, this is our water trap. So the water trap is designed for the reactive material to kind of move down into the system through here, and it gets trapped on the other side. Keep getting, there we go. So it gets trapped on the other side, and it's designed so that it has a hard time flowing back, okay? So that the water, it stays in place. The scrubber here, it's a radial scrubber. So you can see the different pieces here. Now we have the extra large scrubber and the shorter scrubber. They both have the same design, but it's just larger. And we remove the water trap between the extra large and the small, and basically you just use a sponge as a water trap for those other scrubbers. All right. So you can see here it's pressed down and it's held by the circle lock. Yes, so Tibald is asking, is there a way that you can use the head as a gas analyzer? And yes, you can. So here with the Liberty rebreather, we have different tools and pieces that come with the Liberty that are able to kind of assist with different components, such as kind of calibrating your sensors, in this tool, there are a couple of different ways that you can use your head as a gas analyzer. The easiest way that I imagine, rather than kind of filling up the entire Liberty or the entire breathing loop with the gas that you want to analyze, is to analyze it directly using this jig. So this jig comes with the Liberty rebreather that's used for calibrating your sensors. So what you do is you have this tubing, you have your head plugged in, and say, and grab the other tool. So with this tool, so what I have here is I have the professional flow limiter. So this comes with the Set Blender Max kit. And what I want to do, if I want to analyze a particular gas, I screw this straight into the cylinder, and I have the tubing that comes with it. It either comes with the calibration jig, or it comes with the Set Blender Max kit. And I'm able to use kind of an app in here to analyze the gas. And then it will give me a good mix, and I can use that to set the diluent directly in. So it's not any extra work, and I'm getting the best analysis of my diluent mix. Wireless. So Tina is asking, what about wireless air pressure monitoring? So right now we are not at that step for kind of air integration monitoring, but that is something that we are planning on having kind of with the next upgrade, with the kind of second generation of the Liberty. So Rebecca is asking, what depth rating does this unit have out of the box? So we pressure test all of the components of the Liberty rebreather to 300 meters. And so right now, kind of out of the box, like we can test all components to 300 meters. Now, are you going to be diving to 300 meters? That's a different question. There are some factors kind of with the first stages and using environmentally sealed first stages that they can be a little problematic at those depths. And so it does have to be adjusted. But the Liberty systems are tested to 300 meters. And we are, sorry, I'm getting a little lost in that. And then, so that is the depth rating of the Liberty rebreather, 300 meters. So All right. Do we have any other questions on here? So now, so to explain kind of what all the different parts are on this, on top of this, on the top of the unit, we have the two different handsets, and then we have our heads-up display, and then we have our buddy light. Okay, so our buddy light is just, it's a big indicator of how you, it's either green or red, so it's essentially go, no go. So if your PO2 rises above a 1.4 or a 1.6, it'll blink red, or if it drops below a 0.2, it'll blink red as well. So just kind of to indicate to your buddy, to your diving partners, what if there's a problem, and so that they can assist you, right? All right, so let's get back to here on the Liberty Light. How far down the roadmap is a nerd capability? So that's a very good question. So what we wanted, we have right now is our heads-up display. We are kind of in the works with working on our own type A heads-up display that can give you a full readout of everything that you need with your depth time and your PO2. Not necessarily a nerd, but kind of our own type of heads-up display that will be part of the Liberty. It'll just be kind of just like removing your heads-up display. All right. So now I'm kind of curious, when you guys go and travel, when you do any type of travel rebreather diving, are you traveling to more tropic locations in a wetsuit, or are you traveling to anywhere where you need a dry suit, or you need more exposure protection? Because usually if you're traveling with a dry suit, you're going to have more equipment. You need heavier gear, especially to dive with. And so the Liberty Light was designed so that you can integrate as much weight as you need. There's plenty of weight pockets so that you can dive in any type of exposure, dive with any type of exposure protection. And it's a fully capable unit. You're able to cave dive, able to wreck dive. You can dive in any environment that a back mount rebreather is necessary, right? So see if we have any other questions. So just to summarize kind of what we talked about today, we talked about the Liberty Light rebreather system. It's what we did to reduce. So the vision of the Liberty Light was to create a travel unit. So we wanted to create a system that would make for the best traveling for a rebreather diver. So this system right here weighs 13 pounds, and then fully ready to dive, we have it at 55 pounds. So it's all soft goods. We have our weighting system that's designed to it's fully integrated, that you can put put blocks of weight wherever you need them. We have carbon fiber plates in here that give it the same robustness that you would, not as much as a back plate, but it's going to be a very strong, robust, soft harness system. It's the same. We have back mount counterlungs, which you can also use front mount counterlungs as well with this system. And we have our Apex flight regulators that are designed to go with the system, but you can use any type of regulator that you prefer. We chose these because they're so light and they're small size. And so the way that our system attaches with the Liberty Light have our attachment system. That this is the integral piece here. This bracket right here, it's a little hard to see. So this system right here is designed so that we can lock it in. And then once you attach the unit and you go through your final checklist, you're able to go diving. And this is our Liberty light. And if you have any questions, just be sure to check out our website, check out our YouTube videos, and if you have any other questions, don't be afraid to reach out to us. Thank you very much. Bye-bye.